The implosion of C9 after Lockin has captured and mystified the Valorant community. NA's most hyped team of the offseason dropped one of the region's most seasoned IGLs and one of 2022's best players. To longtime viewers though, C9's move may not have been all too shocking, as the org has had a tumultuous past dating back long before Lockin and even before the VCT circuit's creation, when Cloud9 signed its first official Valorant player, TenZ. While TenZ is highly regarded nowadays, upon switching over to professional Valorant from CSGO, TenZ had a less than stellar reputation as a player. He had been benched on C9's CSGO team after just 4 months, as his playstyle clashed with the vision of his IGL Daps and coach James IRL. Daps claimed that TenZ, quote, just isn't ready to play at the pro level. I'm not saying he could never reach that level, but he's a lot further behind than any young player I've ever played with. TenZ made his grievances with the org known after his benching. Quote, I was benched because I was the only person arguing with people. I felt like our style wasn't good and I didn't believe in the system. Needless to say, there were some doubts about TenZ's ability to perform in a competitive setting. Nonetheless, C9 placed him at the center of their Valorant roster and seemingly gave him some level of control over its assembly. Quote, my plan going forward is to assemble the best team that I think is possible relatively soon. The announcement of the rest of the roster would soon follow, and like many rosters of its time, it was comprised of NACS talent. The roster competed alongside each other for months prior to being officially announced in the summer of 2020 to a rather lukewarm reception. Regardless, the roster was still competing with and trading wins with some of North America's top teams at the time, and they looked poised to make a solid run in First Strike, the largest Valorant tournament in North America thus far. They captured wins over quality teams like TSM, Envy, xeta, and 100 Thieves before losing to Renegades and failing to qualify for the main event. After the disappointing finish, Shinobi would go on the Plat Chat podcast and say this about their performance.
Because TenZ was not really feeling like he wanted to jet op as much. He felt like Reyna was suiting his playstyle a lot more, so we tried to like make a lot of these changes on short notice to like make everyone feel comfortable, but we just didn't really like get an identity that fit with like our overall gameplay that works for us. So
these comments, along with the fact that he was dropped shortly after, gave rise to rumors that TenZ wanted him out, which TenZ publicly addressed on Twitter, saying, quote, to clarify the rumors spreading about me disrespecting Shinobi FPS and wanting him cut, the strats we had could be executed with either Reyna or Jett. I said initially I wasn't feeling it with Jett and I'm gonna go Reyna instead. Shinobi would be replaced by Leaf, a promising young NA talent, and the team prepared for the upcoming JBL Quantum Cup. They wouldn't capture a single map at the Quantum Cup, but few expected what was going to happen next. TenZ had announced his departure from the roster, citing COVID forcing solely online play as the reason for him stepping down from the competitive scene. While the reasoning was sound, some felt that TenZ had given up on a roster that he had a heavy hand in creating. This left a glaring hole in the roster, and one that C9 had to patch up quickly if they wanted to keep their competitive hopes alive. C9 would bring in xeta, a former Korean CS player and a member of C9 Korea's roster. In addition to xeta, they also brought over Autumn to fulfill the head coach role. Just days later, they would announce the addition of Poise and field a 6-man roster. These changes didn't bring about immediate fantastic results. They seemingly could not get past the best that NA had to offer and regularly lost once the field narrowed down to the top 8. Following these subpar performances, the team would move forward with Poise as an active member, fully replacing Vice. With this newly retooled lineup, the team captured a win in the NSG March Monthly with several impressive wins along the way. Hopes were high for Season 2 of VCT NA competition. As usual though, as competition ramped up, C9 faltered, dropping series to 100 Thieves and V1. In between stages, the team would bring in Floppy and xeppaa, both NACS talent, the latter of which played with Leaf on Chaos Esports Club. The team made its way all the way to the grand finals of Season 2's second stage, earning themselves a spot in the Challengers final, with a chance to make an international appearance on the line. In the Challengers finals, the team would find themselves in the lower bracket final, facing off against V1, with a chance to go to Iceland on the line.
When that wall's up, yep, zellsis can do that, right? He can get up close and personal and get 2, and this is where Reyna thrives. Has the Empress, available, good for 3, good for 4. Penny takes the 5th, version 1, really snatched that right out of Cloud9's hands. Dodges the flash though, no showstopper coming his way. There's the discipline corner, it doesn't get checked again. Penny gets one onto Poise, wraps around the pillar, gets the second one as well. Looking for the third, line him up and knock him down. zellsis gets in on it as well. V1 pick Cloud9 apart. Poise with the Blade Storm. Looking for one. Wise to the discipline corner. No, Penny's good for it. You're going to Iceland.
In a rather lackluster series, Cloud9 would finish 3rd, just missing out on Iceland. After the loss, xeppaa would be slotted into the roster in place of Poise, who was relegated back to the bench. But after being knocked out of Season 3's first split in the round of 16, Poise would be inserted back into the roster and Floppy would be released. C9 still looked rather lackluster, failing to make the main event in both of Season 3 splits, but were able to garner enough points to qualify for NA's LCQ to have a chance at making Berlin. Before the LCQ could start though, C9 would add another member to their roster, Vanity, in place of Poise. Vanity had previously been the IGL of V1, leading them to an international appearance, and he also previously competed alongside Leaf and xeppaa in CSGO. He would assume IGL duties for the team, and the roster, now consisting of Vanity, xeppaa, Leaf, xeta, and Mitch, seemed to be the strongest iteration of Cloud9 we had seen, and they set out to prove it in the LCQ.
As members of Cloud9 continue to aggress forward, Effie's just on the other side of the pillar, spotted the shoulder, gets him away. Whippy drops as well, Leaf for 3 and the defuse. Cloud9 take the lead again. Okay, version 1 are gonna have to bust the move here for Cloud9. If you can buy enough time, you've got a chance at this thing. That's exactly what Vanity's doing as Vanity gets 2. Whippy trades him out. Leaf with 4 HP. Do you have the heroics against Whippy here? Tap. Whippy being patient, but not patient enough. Turned around at just the wrong time. Leaf is there. xeppaa's there as well. My goodness, it's a freaking party in the back of the site. Touched on the wall. Mitch is playing aggressive spot, and that's going to confirm everything. Effie's trying to dance around. He is going to drop. xeppaa gets 3. Cloud9.
Vanity would defeat his previous team in their opening match, and they would find themselves up against Rise.
They're low enough. They're low enough. Oh my god, Superman. Oh my god, he makes it a 1v1 now. Derek there. Oh, sorry, 2v1. Derek makes it a 1v1 situation for his first fight, I should say. In the second one, Vance, you have to be kidding. Good pressure, though, by Leaf all the way up so far. We've seen this actually be a big play. Oh my god, Shanks. Shanks? We get the side cinematic view of him destroying members that are trying to come out a door.
There you go.
Derek pens him through the wall with the Odin. It's coming up big. Mitch on the flank with 1, with 2, almost a third, and that's going to be 3 heads dropped off the shoulders of Rise. A 4th one for Mitch. The flank, the possible ace,
The turret.
and the round clutch coming in from him. Is he going to be able to get it? It looks like he won't. That's going to be the defuse coming in if he only waited a bit longer. Get themselves another ghost into play. Can it be done by Vanity? Derek again? Oh my word.
The team was knocked into the lower bracket and would need to make a miraculous lower bracket run to keep their chances at making champions alive. They captured solid wins against Genji and xet and found themselves in the lower bracket final against 100 Thieves.
On C9 strats. Oh, up Mitch with a 3K. Mitch with a possible 4, but Vanity gets that one. They go for the full house for a while now, and it is on the other side, Astra. Vanity, Mitch, oh my god, what? Vanity! They're gonna win this round. He's gonna be able to play the time. Hiko's gonna have to work a miracle here to be able to get this one, and Cloud9 tie it up with a knife to bring it 6-6. Misses the first one, so he's just like, hey, screw it. They don't know I'm here. That's a tag out coming in. xeta with a great sonar bolt there. How much can Cloud9 use this? Ethan and Hiko trying to make it a null effect. But it is xeppaa that's left. And he double dinks Hiko for the 4K on the round.
They had earned a spot in the grand finals and a rematch with Rise.
Go out. Now Rise is going to have to work around this. They still want the site. They are going full bore on this as Leaf starts it off with a kill on the net.
No.
Thanks, he's going to get a trade behind the Cosmic Divide. Now they get back in. There's so many big ultimates C9 is using here, and Rise still may be able to hold the round. Is that the case? No, it's not, man. They drop members of their opponent. And what you've seen here in these rounds is C9, a 12-0 first half. This could be the 9th. And there it is. Cloud9 blue, Plickma 9. That's a flawless coming
So
in.
this is actually pretty good. Oh, okay. Even better for C9 with his first blood into a B site.
The 2-man team for U-Haul. Here we go. Neptune. Can it be the work of him? And no. Derek goes down, but they still have 2 alive. Great peek to bench. Leaf somehow comes up with that. But he knows he can play off xeppaa, even if xeppaa goes down as a sentry in this situation. xeppaa goes down, even draws the nade for a double play. Neptune 7 HP with the peek, and xeta comes up big. And Van, here is the Viper's pit. We're doing everything in the House of Viper right now, but Superman goes down. That's going to be xeppaa coming up with a frag.
C9 dominated the series and punched their ticket to champions as the 3rd and final NA representative. The team would be seeded into Group D alongside Vision Strikers, Fnatic, and Full Sends. Their opening match would be against Fnatic, who were formidable but sat behind all the other EU representatives in terms of expectations. The series would deliver and then some. The two teams would go the distance on the first two maps, but it would soon become obvious that Fnatic had prepped heavily for the third and final and newly released map, Fracture. They took a commanding 11-4 lead, but C9 refused to die and battled their way back.
That could have potentially been the equalizer. Vanity gets dropped at 3v3. Well, that turned very quickly, as Doma finds himself outnumbered and outgunned. Cloud9 lived to fight at least one more round. They're not playing with Spike at all. Look at that. It's not even in anyone's hands. That's an excellent opener, though.
Beautiful shot for Xeta, and another one bolster. He wanted to get that trade. He wanted to equalize things at least a little bit.
Set up around here, Mystic. You see him hightailing and trying to get over here as quickly as he possibly can. His Magnum has to hold fast, not able to do so. Ooh, he spots Vanity.
What a flash!
Xeppaa showstopper. It's supposed to create space, but Durka just stands there. He's able to take Xeppaa down with him. A 2v2. How have they gotten to this point? It's not quite over yet. They have the Rolling Thunder as well, and they may not need to invest it. Land the shots, guy. Xeta cleans it up. Cloud9 get another. They get to 10, double digits here, and they do so. They manage to get control. You still haven't dealt with Durka, though. Behind enemy lines. He's going to try to stay alive, dash away, get out of the Killjoy ultimate, right into the warm, welcoming arms of Xeta as he gets to 3K. Cloud9 get to 11. Stays alive. Durka looking to push the matter. Fault line in his face, has to drop out, not able to stay alive. He's not going to get the chance to do anything about it. I don't know that he's going to have enough time for it either. Leaf cleans it up. Urka goes all the way in. He's able to take care of Mitch. Doma does as well. Is this it? Leaf down to 1. It's just Leaf.
The series would end in an anticlimactic fashion, as Fnatic easily took both overtime rounds after the exceptional comeback. Leaf's poor performance on map 3 caught the eye of the community, who were quick to label him an onliner. In their following match against Full Sends, the team performed solidly, and Leaf had a great game, quelling some of the doubts about his play. They still had a chance to get out of groups, but would have to pass through Vision Strikers first. Vision Strikers were the favorites going in, as they had seemed ready to break through in a big way for a long time now. Leaf had a fantastic map 1, but map 2 would go comfortably Vision Strikers' way. On map 3, C9 would have to fend off a comeback from Vision Strikers to keep their hopes at champions alive.
Come through with 3 of them standing up against Xeppaa, Vality, Xeta. Good connection on that. Marco gonna have to suffer the damage. That is getting dangerous. Xeppaa out of nowhere gets 2 big kills. Stax has to stand and deliver, and he's on his knees. Vanity, the back line here, getting loud up against Vision Strikers. That's 10 now on the board.
So early,
Buzz, yeah, it does feel extremely early, but Buzz gets one. Marco with a second. In combination, bringing it down to something far more manageable, but they still have to get across that finish line. Buzz takes the step and he takes the frag and looks for Mitch here. Left down in the 1v1. He's still trying to fight it. Just the classic of 2 kills and time has dwindled away, and they live to fight another day. Vision Strikers keep moving forward. Cloud9 on the verge here. Time is of a factor, and Leaf says no. It's 12 for Cloud9. No presence in the tube. The flash was sent to that corner. Wait, Mitch, he still gets it. No, what? Maybe there's still a little bit of hope. 8 HP, it's all he's gone. It's over. It's done with.
Mitch had the game of his life on Breeze, dropping 26 kills and topping the leaderboard for Cloud9. North America's hope at Champions was riding on C9's shoulders, but the team would have their work cut out for them in the playoffs, as they would be matched up against Team Liquid, a team that many pictured coming out on top at Champions.
Jakee is looking for the ace, but who better than Leaf to deny that? 1 versus 4. Make that a 1 versus 2. Leaf working on that ace. Now marching his way down the steps. Who is going to peek next? Leaf is feeling it. He's just taking everybody out, but it's Link to deny the ace. Another on tree, and there's very little. What else is he going to find here? Dropping down. Oh my God, Leaf! Someone check this guy's computer. Leaf is killing everybody, and it won't stop. There's a frag grenade. There's a frag grenade. Is that going to do enough, though, to slow it down? It's halfway. They need to stop this. There's the frag from Mitch. They need more, though. They need more. They need more, because there's a defuse.
Leaf showed up for Cloud9, silencing any doubts about his abilities to perform on a big stage, but Cloud9 still suffered a close loss to Team Liquid. Vanity, after the fact, noted that both nerves and indecisiveness played a large role in the loss, and believed that C9's ceiling had yet to be shown. Cloud9 were eliminated from Champions, but the end of their season had inspired hope for the team heading into 2022, and many viewed them as the top team in North America after their rise at the end of the year. These expectations seemed to be well placed, as the team ripped through the domestic competition, finishing undefeated through the Season 1 group stage, and looked poised to make their second international tournament in a row. In the upper bracket semi-final, with a chance to cement themselves as a clear top dog in North America, C9 would be pitted against Optic.
And the Viper's pit comes down to make sure that Cloud9 have a hard 9. He's forced to answer to Leaf. They're back away for now, and Optic
now crashes. It falls to him, and he makes the right play. It's only one.
A tap on the spike. Vanity is trying to stay alive, but he's got an op just around the corner in way of tour de force, and Optic have done it. They hang on towards A main and a sky smoke. Even concealment. Here at Optic, no way. Crashes behind the wall. He can just
shot
stick
doesn't
it.
hit.
Mimi, the shot darts don't land. The backstab. Look at Leaf. He's got 2 players in front of him. A lockdown there as well. Crashes on the trade. And the 1v1 and Vanity stuck. He's got to go. He's got to get out of dodge, and Crashes is ready for it.
Oh, it's over.
Jump out too early.
Not the knife. Not ending it like this.
They were knocked into the lower bracket, but quickly reasserted themselves with a dominant win over xeta. C9 would then face off against the Guard, with a spot at Masters Reykjavik on the line as the series kicked off with Icebox.
The Guard have to keep it bay. They have to try to keep it bay. First hop shot misses. Valen does too. 5v2. Wall up. Oh no! Side player with the collapse. The third! Is this how they do it? The Blade Storm out now. Vanity looking to get the defuse, and he's going to do it. Perhaps to close the map. But the Guard, they're not done. Numbers advantage. Side player is able to cut off the rotations. He spots Xeta just on the other side. Master shots at Xeta. 3v2 in favor of the Guard still. But the tap, yeah, he's got to pull off. There's no way he can finish it. We're not done, baby. The war of attrition. The swing, the shots, they land. It's actually the shock dart that cleans Mitch up. And they find the openers. 5v3. The Guard finally in a position to put him away. For Xeta falls 17-15. The Guard
after the insane
holds
finish to Icebox, the series ended in rather mundane fashion, and Cloud9 would go down without a map win in the lower bracket final and lose out on their chance to make a second event. Expectations may have been lowered some, but the team was still seen as a contender until what happened next. Cloud9 and T1 performed a trade in which Xeta and Autumn would be transferred to T1 in exchange for Curry. The move perplexed the Valorant community. Xeta was a significantly more proven player than Curry, as Xeta was consistently rated as a top Sova player in the region. In addition to the roster move, releasing Autumn was concerning for many fans, as he had been a long-standing coach for the team, and his addition to the team coincided with a steady increase in performance for Cloud9. There were tons of questions surrounding the move, so much so that Jakee, one of the owners of C9, addressed the trade himself. According to him, quote, "Xeta and Autumn have been wonderful to work with, but in the end they were ready for a new challenge, and I've always supported these requests by players and coaches when possible. The entire team and myself wish them well." Vanity also commented on the issue, but with a different reasoning behind the move. Quote, "It's not about who's the better player. We did have good chemistry and his English is good, but under pressure it breaks down. We'd sadly hit our ceiling due to these issues, and it's 100% not his fault. It's just how it is communicating in a different language." Regardless of the reason, Xeta and Autumn were gone, and Xeta would play his last match for C9 in week 1 of Stage 2 Challengers, where C9 would capture a 2-0 victory over the retooled Evil Geniuses. After Curry joined the active roster though, things took a turn for the worse. Curry's individual performances weren't terrible, but the team seemed to be in a way worse position with him in the lineup. They went 1-3 with Curry in the lineup, with their only victory coming against a winless Sentinels roster that took one map the entire stage and had their coach subbing in. Cloud9 yet again had their backs against the wall heading into LCQ, but this time there was little momentum working in favor of the team. They captured a clean 2-0 upset victory over Shopify Rebellion, and despite losing 2-0 to the Guard, they played them rather close. Eventually though, they would meet 100 Thieves, who at this point in the tournament was on fire, and their once promising year would end in disappointment. The new year and addition of franchising and Valorant brought about an exciting opportunity for the organization, which was one of the 5 selected NA teams in the Americas League. There were massive amounts of anticipation as to where C9 was going to take their roster, which turned out to be well placed, as the core of Vanity, Leaf, and xeppaa was rumored to be joined by zellsis and jakee in the upcoming season. Adding jakee and zellsis to an established core with international experience had the community's expectations exceptionally high. Luckily for the greater community, it wouldn't be long until the new roster would be in action, as they would be participating in the Red Bull home ground. Apart from a close loss to Focus in their opening match, C9 dominated their other games on the way to Grand Finals. In the Grand Finals, they would meet up against what many anticipated would be a domestic rival, 100 Thieves, and their new addition, Cryocells.
They didn't. Focus knew what was going on. Oh, a little snake bite down, but he's already in. zellsis runs into heavy traffic. And with Stellar's double, that has put a quick halt to C9's plans.
Gonna spot the corner's position, but actually Leaf manages to get out of there, and Jakee's found another. Tried to bait him out with the peek. Vanity's gonna go down for it, and a swing out again. Asuna with a double, he goes for everything.
If he can reposition with this operator, it could be everything. Oh, he's not gonna make it. He got caught on the boxes on the way back through. And bang, with the whole bang.
Position from Bang, he needs to get something here. Finds a double, there's another within! And he comes out with 3! He's gonna put the game to bed!
Despite Bang playing out of his mind on map 1, Cloud9 kept it considerably close, and there were hopes that the series ahead would show what both teams were capable of. Needless to say, this was not the case, and 100 Thieves dominated the next 2 maps, closing the series out 3-0. There was a large amount of ground that would need to be covered by C9, as they seemed outclassed by 100 Thieves, and expectations for the team had largely tempered to a reasonable level. Upon the release of the lock-in brackets, many figured that Cloud9 could possibly go out in the first round, and very few believed the team would be capable of making a deep run. This, of course, was due to the fact that C9 would have to run through PRX and DRX in their first 2 games. PRX had gone out early at Champions, but retained the same roster heading into franchising, which many believed would offer them an advantage at lock-in. This advantage had been greatly overstated, as C9 would soon demonstrate.
Mindfreak's gonna have to be very careful. Instead, well, I think Jing is gonna lead the way again.
Yeah, you can't blame him the way he's been playing. Right into his nade again. Very little damage taken, but the space is the trade-off. The rocket launcher out, the showstopper! But that spike, it should be planted! Vanity! How did he get that angle? Gorgeous round, what a recovery! xeppaa has to do it all! He's gotta win this fight.
Oh, he tries to go for the wall.
Still, with that lurk coming in, that's a great flash.
Being back online, but Seekers might give it to him.
Smart.
It is going to be the res instead, but he's going to go swinging off it. What is that from xeppaa? On him anything. He needs an instant shot, and it's done. It is over. C9 have destroyed PaperX.
Cloud9 dominated PRX, and it felt as if the super team everyone had been promised had actually come into fruition. Not only did they dominate on the server, but C9 seemed to be on top of the world after the match as well, with onstage antics and trash talk galore. Even MCE got in on it, saying it, quote, felt good to send those f***s home. The true test, though, would be DRX.
They're still sitting posted up on the zellsis is going to pop the ult at just the right time. And it's just incredible work from zellsis. Oh, and xeppaa as well. It's a blender. The Cloud9 wall will not be moved. It's just... And zellsis needs to sell them the perfect fake. zellsis, but and here's that diligence I wanted to see. Yeah, deep clearing, lovely work from xeppaa. Timing. Oh my god! What? Zest! Turns in time. Marco pulled off from the diffuser. Now it's the swing from xeppaa, 10 HP, and now the other side. Wait, Marco got Vanity. The 1v1, but it ain't halfway, and the swings there. Cloud9, and then force them away. RB only has 1 place to play on towards side, and that's so quickly checked. Stax tries to make a play through the wall, but still gets found pretty quickly. Cloud9 just in absolute motion right now. And you got jakee a mile above.
It seemed like everything went right for Cloud9 on map 1 as they absolutely overwhelmed DRX on Pearl. DRX bounced back on Haven as expected, and the series would go to map 3 on Icebox.
Denial coming through from Cloud9.
All right. That could be it. That's lovely from RB.
He's got the lockdown.
Yeah, oh my god, he does. This is going to either quicken the pace or they have to respect it. They're going to try and find the fight here, RB. Has to back away, he's got to fight again, RB! Incredible! The lockdown gets dealt with, and now Leaf in the 1v1. Time on RB's side! It's impeccable work from RB.
Unbelievable stuff from RB for the Red Bull clutch.
Pings come in and Marco denies lead. And now just down to Stax and Marco to make this work. zellsis, the second attempt at it now, has to be dealt with. Oh, and it is Stax! Incredible work, and DRX are immovable at this point. Let's see, what can they do? Just waiting now. Marco finds lead. That's not ideal.
That's not
Bars.
good.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is not how it happens, right? Can they get the spike back? Yeah, okay, Ye's got that. Ooh, but he'll go down for it. Is this how they get to 12? Unreal. Vanity's dead!
Absolute disaster. DRX have flipped the Thrifty.
And RB standing there, Ye knows it. The final couple of seconds, the Cloud9 Colossus has crumbled as DRX demolished them.
In what was one of the most dominant maps in international Valorant history, Cloud9 got stomped 13-2. This time, C9 was on the receiving end of BM from the team that they had defeated at Champions Berlin over a year ago. As the game was coming to a close, and after it had concluded, multiple members of the community pointed out the team smiling and laughing in stark contrast to Ye's stern face. This was written off pretty much instantly as people reading far too deep into the situation, but those that pointed it out may have been onto something because trouble was stirring in C9's camp. After lock-in, it was announced that C9 had officially decided to release Ye and Vanity. Suddenly, the best player in the world and a top NA IGL were without a team, and speculation began. The community began to theorize that budget could have been the reason behind the move. Ye would obviously command a massive salary, and it was suspected that C9 made the choice to cut him as a cost-cutting measure. Jack responded and seemingly confirmed the speculation surrounding finances on Reddit, saying, quote, "We're in a great place financially, and I aim to keep it that way by controlling costs in a time where sponsorships are tight. I'm planning for the long term." However, in a roster video posted by C9, Jack and MCE would state that role issues were the reason for the roster shakeup. This statement was mocked relentlessly by the community, as people felt that the team should have had better foresight and a better read on this situation much earlier than they actually did. In place of Ye and Vanity, collegiate player Jake and Sonic's IGL Runi would join the team. Of course, these roster moves were met with scrutiny, as many thought that the jump from collegiate and tier 2 Valorant would be far too much for these players. The Org's move left a sour taste in many people's mouths, as many wished for the Org's Valorant team to crumble. But crumble, they did not.
He's gonna hear it coming. One body shot. And he gets it! A floor kill for Runi! Welcome to the big stage!
And it's all on to Leaf. This is a 1v2 though. This is winnable. Oh my gosh. It's winnable. It's winnable. He's gotten it down to 1. Picks up a weapon. Taps on the spike. To bait. To draw out the swing from Azine, and he does!
He doesn't have time.
Does he? Does he?
Oh my gosh! Where's the post-bomb positioning? Davies is going to do the most from this angle because he is one of that final line of defense, but wow! Ranger's control of the rifle. Runi with 2.
He got a collapse with the
What? Turret spotting that contact. Runi trying to bait it low enough, and Runi wins it.
Waiting for the challenge on the second that will not come.
Where did that flash just go? I mean, just completely whiffed.
He's got the fall line. He's going to take the fight, and they're both weak! They were both weak, and it's a clutch for zellsis!
Cloud9, in one of the most shocking turns of events seen in Valorant, played exceptional in the regular season. In the midst of this unexpectedly good split, Jack would once again speak on the move, perhaps feeling emboldened to do so by the team's performance, stating that they had, quote, 5 months of bad scrim data where the team wasn't performing well. Regardless though, as the team got set to compete for a spot at Tokyo, many believed that they would be one of the 3 teams to represent the Americas region.
xeppaa's in spawn! xeppaa's in spawn! That first flick was filthy, but Demon 1 cleans him up. Now they're going to commit to the site in the face of the lockdown.
Good flash from Ethan. They know where Busio is. Still gets 2.
And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you know where Busio is. He's still going to find his value. A 5-0 lead for Evil Geniuses. The spike is on the southern side. Demon 1's the only one close by, and he literally has no help right now. The potential of being overwhelmed and overrun by the 3 members of Cloud9 heading his way, but Demon 1 handles them all.
And they've got some huge execute power.
Holy smokes, bro. And it's just handled. Can he get any?
Oh, the jump spot.
He gets none. on the prowl, on the hunt. He's gotten it down to 1. Ethan boldly taking it to half, finally pulling off just a tap. It's just a fake! And it's another 1v1 for Ethan!
Something wrong with that showstopper, but it's responded with one of their own!
Giving right!
Oh my god!
Bustio's getting a little cheeky here. He's by himself. Dude, they're doing this on their own. Talk about feeling themselves. He's got no!
In their first playoff series as a team, though, they would suffer a defeat at the hands of the up-and-coming Evil Geniuses. They'd have to make a run through lowers to keep their hopes of making an international event alive, but there was one problem. NRG had been relegated to the lower bracket as well. The two teams would meet in the lower bracket final with everything to play for.
Shark attack, right to B.
What? Through the poison orb, Leaf coming out though with the blade storm, connects the second onto Crashies, dashing forward, updrafting, looking for Song, finally finds him, looks for the pick, Reckoning comes out as well, and Finesse is looking around, but it's Leaf coming in from the side, the 4K into the round. Got out, the first tap, and the headshot from Crashies on a 1v1, Cove up, position from Crashies, gets that clutch there against Cloud9. Looking for an explosion potentially. There's that explosion with the pop flash, but Leaf, late aim lab, 3 headshots onto Energy.
On these first few angles.
Yeah, only 1 flash available, just got used, and it doesn't hit too many players, so this is going to be strong positions now. It's still Artist left and right with the dash activated. Finally denied by xeppaa. No kills coming through. Still a 5 versus 5 somehow. With
Energy
the clock ticking down. Flash across. C9 on the board. 2 more left to go to bring this to overtime. And C9 will do it! And are they fine on this hold for Energy? The triple setup, the crossfire, the walk-in. Jake punished by Artist. A dash in then from Leaf. But it's still the crossfire. Too good for Energy. Up to zellsis. Looking to get it done. Back and forth. The 2 kills on 2 versus 1 now. Victory Finesse. There it is. It's not gonna happen.
C9 had failed to qualify for Tokyo despite their best efforts. However, the team objectively overachieved, and they still have a pretty good chance to make champions through the Americas LCQ. We'll likely never know the full story, but it's likely that in the future this move will be largely forgotten about. Cloud9 looks great with their new roster, and Vanity and Ye are still likely to find themselves in franchising next year. Throughout their entire history as a Valorant team, C9 has been an enigma, and while the situation with Ye and Vanity may have finally brought wide-scale attention to their organizational quirks, this team was forged in this kind of chaos, and in my opinion are truly the most perplexing team in Valorant.